It was a rainy Friday. I was 13. Janine had forgotten to pick me up from my after-school art club again, so I walked. My sneakers slid on the slick sidewalk. Then, out of nowhere, a bike barreled into me, the handlebars slamming into my ribs before I hit the road. The next thing I remember was darkness. Cold. Machines beeping. I was in a coma. For days, I teetered between life and death. My dad visited, held my hand, but he looked tired, distant. And Janine? She stood at the back of the room every time with that fake concern plastered across her face. Until the day I almost died. Janine told the doctor,
"She's been like this for a week. My husband has other children to think about. He doesn't need this hanging over his head. Just pull the plug."
A nurse named Clara overheard. God bless her. She delayed the process, stalled paperwork, even called my Aunt Sharon, my mom's sister, who stormed in and demanded to take charge of my medical care. She saved my life. My name is Naomi Carter, and I used to believe my dad was my hero. After my mom died when I was 10, it was just the two of us for a while. Dad was lonely, broken. He cried more than I did. He tried his best to raise me right, but the house always echoed with silence until he finally found love again. Her name was Janine. Blonde, perfect teeth, wore pearls to parent-teacher meetings. My dad met her at a corporate mixer a year after Mom passed. She had a son, Kyle, and a baby girl on the way. Dad married Janine quickly, eager to give me a complete family again. At first, Janine was sweet, loving, always smiling. She'd call me sweetheart and make cookies when Dad was around. But when he wasn't, she turned cold, distant, calculating. Dad worked in another state. He was gone Monday through Friday, only coming home on weekends. That gave Janine all the time in the world to show me who she really was. I tried. God knows I did. I smiled at her stupid casseroles and forced myself to play nice with Kyle, even when he mocked the photos of my mom that I hid under my bed. But Janine didn't want a daughter she hadn't birthed. She wanted me gone. One night, I crept downstairs for water and heard her on the phone.
"Don't you see? She's in the way. Once she's out, Emily gets the full inheritance. Kyle, too. That brat is a loose end."
I told my dad. I told him everything I heard. "Dad, she wants me gone. She said it on the phone."
Naomi, you're grieving. Maybe you're just imagining things. Janine loves you. She told me herself she sees you as her own.
No, she didn't. And I found out just how much when the accident happened. It was a rainy Friday. I was 13. Janine had forgotten to pick me up from my after-school art club again, so I walked. My sneakers slid on the slick sidewalk. Then, out of nowhere, a bike barreled into me, the handlebars slamming into my ribs before I hit the road. The next thing I remember was darkness. Cold. Machines beeping. I was in a coma. For days, I teetered between life and death. My dad visited, held my hand, but he looked tired, distant. And Janine? She stood at the back of the room every time with that fake concern plastered across her face. Until the day I almost died. Janine told the doctor,
"She's been like this for a week. My husband has other children to think about. He doesn't need this hanging over his head. Just pull the plug."
A nurse named Clara overheard. God bless her. She delayed the process, stalled paperwork, even called my Aunt Sharon, my mom's sister, who stormed in and demanded to take charge of my medical care. She saved my life. When I woke up, my dad was at my side. Janine was nowhere to be seen. He looked relieved and guilty, but guilt doesn't erase ignorance. Once I recovered, Janine made my life a waking hell. While pretending to be the loving stepmom in front of others, she turned me into a maid behind closed doors. She gave Kyle my room. I was moved to the attic.
"You should be grateful we didn't send you to boarding school."
She'd make me clean the toilets, cook breakfast, iron Kyle's clothes, take care of her baby Emily, who screamed every time I touched her. Then she took things further. One afternoon, I came home from school to find Dad fuming. Janine was crying.
"I found money in her drawer, a whole $100. She stole it from my purse."
I didn't. I swear on Mom's grave.
Why would you do this, Naomi?
I was already branded the troubled child, but Janine wasn't done. One evening, Janine screamed from the nursery. She came rushing down the stairs holding Emily.
I caught her with her hands around the baby's neck. I swear she tried to strangle Emily.
What? That's a lie! Dad's face turned white with horror.
Get out! I can't do this anymore. You need help, Naomi.
1 week later, he dropped me at Aunt Sharon's. Said he hoped time away would help. I didn't cry when he left. I didn't beg. Something inside me had hardened. I stayed with Aunt Sharon and Uncle Victor. They were kind. They believed me. And slowly, I healed. I went to therapy. I wrote pages and pages of everything I felt, disguised as fiction. I published stories online under a pen name. People loved them. They paid for them. By the time I turned 21, I was paying Aunt Sharon rent, had over 500,000 followers, and enough money saved to buy a place of my own. I never reached out to Dad, until he reached out to me. It was a voicemail. His voice cracked through my speaker.
I was wrong about everything. Please call me, sweetheart. I need you.
He had stage 4 kidney failure, needed a transplant. Janine wasn't a match. Neither were Kyle or Emily. Then came the bombshell. He found out Emily wasn't even his child. Turned out Janine had been sleeping with her ex-boyfriend before and after the wedding. They both planned to pin the child on my dad so Janine could secure the marriage and the money. But it unraveled. A DNA test, done in secret, confirmed it. Worse still, Dad later learned the child wasn't even Janine's ex's either. Apparently, they made it all up to trap him. When Dad confronted her, she broke down, cried, begged, lied, screamed, but something in him snapped. He played her like a fiddle.
I forgive you, but we need to get back on our feet. Let's save, work hard, let's build our dream together again.
So she got 2 jobs, waitressing at night and retail in the day. She saved every penny into a joint account Dad opened under her name. And his. Every penny she saved, he siphoned. He changed the house deed. He rewrote his will. And on her birthday, as they sat down for dinner and she expected a gift, he slid a white envelope across the table.
What's this?
Divorce papers. Happy birthday.
She wailed, threw wine in his face, threatened to kill herself. He calmly walked away. Then he found me. We met at a small cafe. He looked old, tired, but his eyes, those same eyes I remembered from childhood, were wet with tears.
I was blind. I let her poison me. I almost lost you forever.
Do you believe me now? He nodded. We hugged. For the first time in a decade, I felt the safety of my father's arms again. He moved in with me for a while. I wrote about our story online, not with names, but raw truth. It went viral. Meanwhile, Janine spiraled. Without the money, the house, or even the lie she built her life on, she crumbled. Kyle fell into the wrong crowd. Drugs, petty theft. He eventually landed in jail for armed robbery. Emily, now a teenager, wanted nothing to do with her mother. She moved in with her maternal grandmother. And Janine, she worked 2 jobs, lived in a dingy apartment, and cried herself to sleep most nights. But I wasn't done. I found out where her ex-boyfriend lived, the one she schemed with. I hired some guys, friends of a friend, to pay him a little visit, just to teach him a lesson. They didn't kill him, but let's just say he won't walk the same way again. I watched from a distance as Janine came to visit him at the hospital. Her makeup was smeared and her fancy clothes were gone. She looked exactly like what she was, a gold digger who lost everything. And me? I'm still writing. I bought a new house. Dad's doing better. His transplant is scheduled soon, and I'm a match. Funny how life works. He nearly let me die, but I saved him. Because the one thing Janine never understood about real family is that it's not built on blood or lies. It's built on forgiveness, truth, and love. She can keep chasing her fake dreams. I already won. Oh, and if you loved that little plot twist, subscribe for more. Revenge makes for great content.